Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to teach you how to set up Astra's global design options. We're going to walk you through setting up typography, global colors, container widths, button styles to apply a reasonable and consistent design to your website. Okay, so let's get started with this. We have a starter template from the Astra library, and we'll use this as our starting point to get our website off the ground. So let's head over to our dashboard and hover over Astra and click on Customize. And that takes us to the Astra Customizer. Now, the settings that we're going to tackle today are under Global. So these global settings, and we'll explain real quick, mean that anything we change here affect the defaults for our entire website. So let's say that we wanted to start off by changing the fonts. And if we change the fonts for the headings and the body text and the other headings here on from the global typography settings, it wouldn't only change the fonts here on our home page, but it also changed the fonts on our other pages. So let's take a look at our home page here, and let's click on the About page real quick. And you can see About Us, and these are the same fonts as the home page. Okay, and we can choose these presets as an example to show you what global options are. And let's use this serif font, and you can see it has little tails on it. And if we went on About, you'd see that even here and down here, the fonts have changed. So that's what we mean when we talk about global settings. Of course, you can change them one by one in the block editor per page, or configure them depending on whether it's a static page or it's a post. So let's dive deeper into typography. Okay, so like what I just said, we have some presets here of what the folks at Astra think are good combinations for font options. Alternatively, rather than use these fonts here, we can choose, all right, take a look. This is body text. If we clicked on body font, we can choose from here. We can inherit from the defaults of our theme, or we have these system fonts that are native to WordPress, and we have Google Fonts. So all of these are under the Google library for fonts, and you'll see that it should be different by the time it reloads. If it doesn't, we'll just refresh it. Okay, and you can see that the body text has changed to Courier. And we can also change the font size here, but you'd have to experiment with this, as it might actually break your website. So let's put it at a reasonable 18. And that looks good. That looks very readable. And you can also change whether it's full caps or just regular or small letters. And you can put underlines, you can put strike-throughs. Of course, depending on your font. And let's just keep it regular ways. Okay. And we can also change the heading font. So this one is Josephine Sands. Let's go with, let's say that. Okay, that looks fine. Actually, it looks like the stock one. Let's go with something else. Let's go with Times New Roman, just so that we can see that it's different from the stock one. And we can also configure our heading fonts. So this is our heading fonts here, and H1 is inherit. And depending on if we have particular headings here, probably these ones might be it. Let's see. Inherit, inherit, inherit. I believe this might be either heading 3 or heading 2. And we can change it to Arial and then see if that changes anything. Okay, it didn't. Let's just keep that back to inherit. How about heading 2? There we go. You can see that this one is heading 2 for sure. And if we changed it to Helvetica, it should change or times. There you go. And Courier. And you can see that we changed it separately from these other ones over here and this one at the top. So let's put it on a different one just so that we can confirm that it's different. Oh, it looks too similar. Okay. That looks fine. And we can configure all of these ones to however you want them to look like, depending on your site's look. And we can also change the paragraph margin, but usually it's okay on the default. And we finally have here underline content links, and you can see here on the buttons that have links on them, we can add or remove the underline. Okay, so that's our fonts and typography done. Next, let's move over to colors. Now, these colors affect the whole site. And here on the colors sidebar, we have these 3 styles. And these are just quick options for you, swatches, palettes for you to choose. And you can configure them using these stock presets. Let's go with pink, just to make it different. There we go, pink. And we have the original one here, and we have blue. And these don't change unless you change them. So depending on your mood or if you had a promotion, you can quickly change the styles. Next, we can choose our own custom colors. So we can click on color 1 here, and let's move it over to, let's say, there you go. And we can drag and drop the slider here, depending on what color we want in particular, and we can lessen the opacity. Right, and you can see that it makes it almost invisible. So let's go here to green and make it super opaque. Alternatively, if you had your design options, your style guide for your company or your brand, you can always go to your design manual if you had your color hex codes or HSL colors. And let's say I had these, or if you didn't have one, you could always just go on this website, Color Hex. I like it because it's simple and it's easy to navigate. And you can always copy paste the hex codes down here for which colors you want. And is there still, okay, this one is still pink, and we can use this yellow color here, and we can copy paste that. And you don't need to use hex codes. You can use RGB values and HSL values, but usually for web design, hex is the most accepted one. And you can see there it is. And then, oh wait, we should change this one to green then, as an example. Okay, and then this one is still light pink. Let's make that. Okay, not. Okay, there we go. Oh, that's the background color. Okay, and then for this one, it's the background color of this. So let's make it baby blue. Okay, and you can see that we've changed our general colors. Now, once it's done loading here, we have our colors that we've chosen. And because, keep in mind, these are global options, if we went to About, you could see that even on this page, the colors have changed. And we have even more colors here that we can change the heading color from black here to hard blue or even signal red. And we can change the text color. If it's a bit too light, we can make it black to make it stand out more. And we have border colors, but it depends on the blocks that you use. And there aren't any borders here, so to speak of. And we can change the site background here and the content background. But you can see these these globe icons on the colors here are based off of whatever we have here on our patches, swatches that is. And if you clicked on style, you can see that these change as well. And if we went back to the one that we custom made, these change according to the styles and these top colors over here. Okay, so these are our global colors, and we can go to the different pages on our site and see that the colors also reflect there. Now let's talk about container widths. And once we're going to talk about containers, I've made this example post here, and if you click on that, it takes us to our example post here. And we have container here, and we can choose from normal. You'll see the width of this, to narrow, which is what it was set to earlier. And we also have full width. Look how wide our content gets on the page. Takes the full width of our screen. And we can choose these. Probably narrow seems easy to look at least for this video. And we can choose whether the container, which is this, to be boxed or unboxed. Watch this white space here. Okay, it makes it a bit wider and removes the box. I think it looks better this way, at least for this website. And you can also configure how wide, or so to say, how narrow this container is. And we can also make it wider or much narrower. There you go. Watch this. Much narrower than it already was. So the defaults are good, easy to read. And lastly, let's take a look at buttons. So we're back on the home page, and we have a few buttons here, and if we hover over them, they turn green. And we have down here. Let's click on buttons here on the global settings one. And firstly, we have button presets, which is their shape. You can see this one changed. This one should change as well. And we can change the size, and we can make it rounded. We can have it be clear like that, and you can see how this one looks like, and the edges are kind of rounded a bit, and you can see that it's the same one where it's blank, where it's like transparent and corners are rounded. To make it easier for us, let's use this round one. And we can also change, you can see here, normal and hover. And you can see the globe on these color icons. It's because it's using the colors that we set up in our presets earlier. And we can make the text color black, and we can make the hover color blue. And if we hover over these, you can see the text turns blue. And we can also change the background color to something a bit more bright, like orange. And if we hover over it, we can make it bright green. Okay. And you can see that it also changes for these. And you'll notice that some of these, let's say for this, our global settings here are round. But why is it that this one and this one are still square? Well, that's because these are configured not from the global settings. They have their own individual settings, which override our global settings. Okay, and we can also change the button font. And let's say it's Courier right now. Let's make it Times New Roman. Okay, and we can also change the border width and radius and padding. And now these are secondary buttons, which we don't have here. Okay, as a bonus, let's talk about scroll to top. Now we have it disabled right now, but what happens if we enabled it? Oops. Okay, let's let this refresh, and let's scroll all the way to the bottom, and you have this little icon here. We click that, it takes us to the top. Now we can make that icon bigger, and we can make it go on the left or on the right, depending on your preference. And we can display it only on desktop, only on mobile, or desktop and mobile. And we can also change its design here by changing the color, and we can use our default colors here. That's for the text. Let's use black. Let's use this light blue here. And the background color, let's make it red. And when we hover over it, green. Okay. And we can also change how rounded the colors are. Let's say 10 and 10. And you can see that we can configure the borders individually. Okay, now that we are happy with our global settings, it's according to our brand or our desired look. When we're happy with that, we can click on Publish to save our settings, and we can now go to our site and see that our changes are reflected throughout the whole site. Here's the colors we chose, here's the buttons we configured, here's the fonts that we selected. We can go to our About page over here and our services, and you can see all of the fonts and colors are the same and consistent throughout the whole website. If you found this video helpful, please consider leaving a like, commenting, and subscribing, as it really helps us out with the YouTube algorithm. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.